Welcome to the show, Jennifer. I am so excited to have you. This has been something I've really been looking forward to because I'm not an ads expert, but you are. But
Yes.
I've been but I've been in the world of podcasting and I've seen a lot of different variations of how people run ads to podcasts. And so for all my listeners, Jennifer and I connected and I kind of started asking her questions about running ads to podcasts and she had some great insight. So Jennifer, welcome to the podcast. I am so excited to share this episode and talk to you today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so let's dive right in. Let's get into really when we're thinking about it, what we're thinking about is running ads and podcast growth, right? That's what we want to essentially do. But I don't know if that's actually the right way to go. So should people actually be running ads to grow their podcast downloads or are they just kind of burning money?
So here's the thing. And this is rooted in my just deep beliefs about meta ads. I've been doing this for over a decade. And I just, you hear all these stories, right? We've all heard them of people being like, I ran ads and it didn't work and I lost all of this money. And, when that is so much of what's in the space, I just I hate any amount of money being spent that we can't directly tie back to revenue. Now, obviously, there are, massive 9 and 10 figure brands that spend millions and trillions of dollars a year on visibility and branding. And so I'm not knocking that as a concept in general, but for the type of client that we work with, for the type of client that I believe is probably listening to this today, the type of business owner, right? Like you want to be in a position in which your marketing spend is directly tied to revenue and sales. And so I just feel so strongly that the most effective use of meta ads always is I know with some level of certainty that every time I put in X, I get Y back.
Mm.
Now, if there was a way to, let's say, optimize your ads for, a podcast subscriber or something, I would change my tune.
Mhm.
I think that would be so cool. But right now there isn't, meaning that when you run ads at top of funnel, so to cold traffic, people who don't know you, just to promote your podcast, could it have a positive impact? It could, but we can never, ever, ever measure it. And that is the problem. That is where you end up in that position of I spent money and I don't even know how to begin to answer what I got
Mhm.
back. Now, does that mean that there's no place for your podcast in your meta ad strategy? Absolutely not. But to send traffic directly there, again, could it work? Could it do something? Yes, but there's no way to measure. And then you are not in control of your own growth, which is what I want to empower all business owners to be able to be in that position when they run ads.
Oh, I love all this. And I can't wait to get into these more tactical strategies of that you've seen work where the podcast can be
Yeah.
in somewhere in the funnel. But I want to back up because it's so fun to hear you talk about ads because I can tell it's just so exciting for you, which is
Like I'm
so
such
funny
an
because
ad nerd. Like I can't turn it off. I really couldn't. Yeah.
I love that because it's not usually what you see. So talk to us so that we can get to know you a little bit better. Like how did you get into meta ads and where does this passion come from?
Yeah. I mean, it isn't a little bit of it is ads. I do just love marketing. I went to school for marketing. I'm a total nerd for marketing, but really my company, the Ad Girls, and I own a couple of other businesses as well. Everything is under the umbrella of the core mission of putting more money in the hands of more women, period. And we have different companies and different vehicles that do that. So naturally a part of that passion and excitement is knowing and seeing what this platform can do for businesses. I mean,
Mhm.
there's me specifically because about 75% of our business over the last 5.5 years has come directly from ads. So I'm
Mm.
literally seeing I have the life that I have because meta ads exists, but then also the hundreds of clients that we've worked with. And some of them are also teaching other business owners how to, let's say, create a course. And then they're running ads and the reverberating impact of that, of women on the planet is really cool. So that is definitely a big part of it. But I mean, I went to school for marketing. I was always going to do something in this area. And I started out in more of the organic social arena. God, this would have been 15 or 16 years ago. And as soon as meta ads became a thing, that's when I had that moment of, oh, thinking about selling the service to clients, right? And selling engagement and community. I always was sort of like, like that's not like super direct. And then all of a sudden there was this opportunity to be able to like sell to clients, hey, you're going to be able to like build a predictable, scalable system that when you put X in, you get Y back. And I was like, ooh, that's so much more fun. And that's so much more aligned for me. And I got on the meta train, if you will, and never got off.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love data. So when I speak with somebody who's like a very like this is the data, we can look at it. It's hard data. It's proven. Like we see the line that goes from A to B to C. I can nerd out on that with you as well. So
Totally.
tell me a little bit more. We're going to get into all this juicy stuff, but I think that the Ads Girls is just a unique agency. So talk to us a little bit about how you guys are different.
Yeah. I feel like the biggest thing is our big picture like motto, which is that an ad by itself doesn't really do anything. Like, of course, we know how to create good ads. Duh, a
Mhm.
little bit. That's like, I mean, it should anyway be the like minimum to have entry into this space. But you can have the most amazing ads in the world, and if the system behind the ads isn't well set up to be able to take that cold traffic and convert them, and have them move up your offer ladder and be able to be in that place in which you have consistent profitability, then it's all for nothing. And again, like the bane of my existence is people spending money on ads like for leads, for clicks, for views, for nothing at the end of the day. So that is really like built into how we operate. Yes, we handle ads for our clients, but sometimes I'm like, is that even like an ad agency? Is that even like the right way to categorize us? Because really we are in such deep levels of partnership with all of our clients in terms of figuring out how to build the predictable system that lets them grow on their own terms, turn the dial up or down however they want. And it just happens to be fueled by ads,
Yeah.
but it's not ads as like the focus. It's predictable, scalable businesses and predictable revenue growth for women.
I love that. And I am all about supporting female entrepreneurs who have podcasts to make sure that they don't burn out with them and stop doing them because I think they can be such a powerful asset. So I love everything you're saying. Okay. So what have you seen work in terms of putting the podcast somewhere in the funnel so that we're still getting eyes and awareness and audience growth on it, but we're still able to track something within that?
Yes. So two things that I've seen work, and one would be my preference over the other, but I'll share both of them. I have seen people create essentially like an opt-in around their podcast, and so at even though that isn't again a perfect solution for me, at least what it allows you to do, and now we're getting into like the technical aspects of Meta. Instead of just telling Meta, right, if you're just sending traffic directly to a podcast, all you can really do is optimize your ad for traffic or engagement, which is, I mean, to me, they're like waste objectives. It's like
Really?
you are, because you lose all sense of control in terms of getting in front of quality people. The truth of the matter is when you tell Meta, go get me a buyer, data is their main asset. They know who buys. Like
Mm.
I probably hold the world record from like fastest amount of time from see ad to purchase something. Like boom, 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 3 clicks, Apple Pay, we're done. Right. I am in like a very positive, like fast buyer category.
They
And
like you.
so, yeah, we want to get in front of more people like
Mhm.
me. And so by default, when all that's the thing. It's not that there's anything wrong with podcasts. It's that all you can tell Meta if you are sending traffic directly to a podcast is optimized for engagement or optimized for traffic. And you are by default getting access to like a lower caliber subset of the audience
Mhm.
that you set. And so if you can run traffic instead, let's say to a opt-in, where you're saying, hey, give me your name and email and I'll send you the link to my podcast. And obviously you want to make sure that that is something done in integrity because of course the podcast is also publicly available. Maybe you give them a free gift with it. There are ways that you can structure it and make that work, but then at least you're building your list and the thing you're optimizing for is a lead. Now, a lead is not necessarily like a purchase, let's say, but
Mhm.
it's further along in the like intent journey, if you will, than just engagement or traffic. So by default, because you can optimize for like a tangible action and also grow your list in the process, I would say that that is like one possible solution. However, my preferred way to use podcasts in a Facebook funnel would really just be middle of funnel nurturing. So regardless of what your, like the purpose of your ads, let's say it is list building, or we have so many clients doing low ticket offers right now. That is where we are seeing just absolutely phenomenal success these
Cool.
days. So do that, right? Get your, 'cause you can right off the bat optimize for purchase, which we
Mhm.
love because we're getting access to higher caliber buyer. We are also able to liquidate ad spend instantly. In fact, sometimes be a little bit profitable. But obviously, that's not the whole part of it. That's still just how you bring people in. And obviously, to see that consistent ongoing profitability, we're usually wanting to see those low ticket buyers upgrade into something else that's higher ticket on the back end. And in that middle of funnel journey where they need some additional nurturing to feel ready to go from the 37 or the 97 to, let's say, your 2K, your 5K offer, having middle of funnel ads that are just promoting your podcast are great for nurturing. And that's where it's fine to, let's say, use the engagement or traffic objective, because those ads are not being used to find people. You're retargeting people that your sale or, that your purchase or lead ad already went and found. So right,
Mhm.
then you're just saying, hey, Meta, just get this in front of the people that I've already sort of qualified as being as close as possible to my right fit people, because I brought them in through a lead or purchase optimized campaign.
Okay, that is so fun. So one way that I use so I love the first one that you said, the bundle, or I call them bundles, but basically we create these podcast centric lead magnet bundles that we
Yeah.
use, and those can be great. The way that I really love having my clients run ads is to creating this podcast centric quiz, which
Hmm.
the person takes the quiz, they come
Yep.
into the funnel, they immediately get like this really beautiful playlist that's personalized to them, and then we move them through the funnel into the offers and things like
Yes.
that. So talk to us a little bit about what's happening in the world of ads with quizzes, and is
Yeah.
that a good strategy, or is there
Yeah.
anything we could tweak there?
So I would say that that definitely falls into that same sort of first category where we can optimize for a lead in the form of a person who completes the quiz. My only question, this is my question I ask to anybody, right? It's like, great, you're going to get leads. Great, you can optimize for leads, and great, people are going to get the podcast. How does this fit into the overall meta strategy? Because it's never just about leads, right? Where are we funneling people to from here? Is this the right front facing offer for the thing you're trying to sell them into? So it's not a, is this good or bad? It's like, just from a how meta works technically, it's better for sure than just like a traffic campaign directly to your podcast. So it's in the, like, I would say, like, yes, it's in like the viable category, but right, always going to have that question. And I ask that to like prospects when they come in and have sales calls with me all the time. Like, okay, but like, so that what? Because I find that so often people are using Meta for everything. And what is actually the driver of revenue in your business? How can you
Mhm.
use Meta to put a dollar in and get two, three, four, five, $10 out every time? That absolutely could be a part of the strategy, but let's actually make sure that it is.
Amazing. So let's say that we get people into this podcast centric quiz. Maybe we use that audience further down the line to actually target them because we know, okay,
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
the better strategy.
And it would be right. It's just, here's the thing. It's nothing siloed. That's
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
right? I'm always looking at everything super holistic. Again, I am like honestly obsessive about making sure I'm like the ROAS protector. I like think of
Yeah.
myself as that sometimes, because like I want every dollar that my clients spend
Mhm.
to be something that they can directly attribute to money that then goes back into their business. And maybe it isn't instant. Maybe we know that it takes 3 months for them to hit that profitability because of a buyer journey.
Mhm.
That's okay. But at least we know we want to have that information and we want to have that data. So let's say you are using that quiz, you would want to have retargeting ads as well as an email sequence that is specific to the thing that they came in on, that is showing them why you came in on this thing. Here's your next step: buying this course, coming to this webinar, whatever that is. And again, just making sure that it all fits into the overall buyer
Mhm.
journey. Otherwise, it's very easy to feel like you're getting cheap leads and Meta's telling you you're doing a great job and your email list is growing, but your revenue isn't. And
Yeah.
then that's where you get into that state of disempowerment around ads,
Right.
where you're
Mhm.
like, I I thought I was doing all the right things. And it isn't necessarily that even anything was wrong with your ads. It's just there was a disconnect between what you were using to bring people in and the next thing that you wanted them to move into.
Okay, there's so many things that are coming to mind, so I'm trying to keep track of them all. I'm like typing and making notes. Don't think I'm getting distracted. Okay, first of all, I want to know, everybody is talking about this trust recession. And when you have you heard of the
Yes.
so okay, when you said it might take 3 months for them to, become a paying client, like what are you seeing? What are your thoughts on this trust recession? What do we need to know about it from an ads perspective?
I'm gonna have a
Feel
different
like this
opinion.
is going to be good. I could the
I
look on
know. I'm
your
like,
face if
I'm
you're
gonna
watching
have a
on
different.
YouTube.
Okay, so here's the thing. Obviously, I think about all of our clients. We work with about 40 to 45 clients at any given time.
Mhm.
So I have a really good look into a variety of different types of businesses, although almost all of them are female coaches and course creators. Obviously, we see in certain industries, certain offers, there are just different buying timelines. And we like to do two things. We like to see where we can speed that up a little bit with some additional nurturing and retargeting ads, but also honor it, right? I mean, like if you've got, let's just say I can think of, clients that we've worked with that, are providing like coaching and therapeutic services to women who just got divorced. Like there's like serious stuff going on. And if
Yeah.
they need a little bit of a long, like to try and rush that and put fake urgency into that funnel, that's not good. That would be out of alignment. So we
Mhm.
want to do both. We want to see where we can speed up the nurturing a little, but also just genuinely honor the buying behavior of people. Now, if we zoom out to this like trust recession, I've been in business for so long and I feel that every 6 months there's something. There's,
Yeah.
the economy is bad, so nobody's buying. Nobody trusts anything anymore, so nobody's buying. This is happening, and I'm just like, I don't play by those rules. I don't care. I I'm like I think about my own business. I'm laser focused on my offer and my value, and I see absolutely no difference in the behavior of my buyers now versus 5 years ago
Mhm.
versus 10 years ago. And sure, I mean maybe I've like tailored how I talk about the offer a little bit to better match what I know their needs and pain points are. But if you have a good I don't know. I find that getting like caught up in those conversations, maybe this is really a better answer. It's not that it is or isn't true. It's that getting caught up in those conversations, I don't personally feel is productive or helpful for me. And so I just don't.
No, I agree completely. And I feel like as a newer, I've been in the digital course world with Amy Porterfield, Kathy Heller for many, many years. And now being on my own, it's so interesting because I hear people keep saying it. But even as a new entrepreneur, I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't know that I'm feeling it, but maybe some
Yes.
people are, or.
Yeah. I think that it's very important to pay attention to what you're paying attention to.
Yeah.
And like, is there stuff going on in the world right now? Yup. Like
Mhm.
yup, for sure. There is. And and like right there are still people out there trying to grow their business with needs, and if you have a solution
Yeah.
for it, they're going to buy it. And if you can create and build that trust and have that credibility, they're going to buy it from you. Like
No.
that is just the truth. And does it maybe take a teeny bit longer than 10 years ago? I mean, I don't know. Those are just like not actually things that I focus my energy on personally. And something that I will say is it's yet another reason why I love the low ticket offers right now, because you are actually finding the thing that triggers buying behavior in an instant. And then all of a sudden, instead of doing the list building and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and hoping and seeing if maybe down the line they buy, you are bringing in buyers, you are
Mhm.
triggering buying behavior right off the bat. And what we are seeing, I mean, it's almost like the opposite of what you hear, right? Nobody's buying and it's taking so long to get people to buy. We're seeing totally cold traffic come in and go, ooh, this is irresistible for $47. Yeah, I'm going to buy it. Oh, and I can also add this, and I can also add this. And oh, before you know it, they've spent $400 or $500 on a single transaction from a stranger because we were able to find the right offers that were
Mm.
such a no brainer, price them and position them appropriately, and really kind of like collapse that trust building and that credibility into a single ad and funnel.
Yeah.
It is possible to do my own funnel for the agency. And I mean, we're selling, I mean, I'll just like, cause I'm super transparent about pricing. We're selling a $22,000 package. Like that's the first package that we're selling. It's the only offer that we have. And just like 5 years ago, same today, I have people who click on my ad, didn't know I existed the day before, find me, book a call with me, and 3 days later, they buy a $22,000 package. So that's what's true for me, and then therefore, like, that's what's true for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Okay. So what if you're willing to share,
Yeah.
what low ticket price point are you seeing work best and what kind of offer are you seeing work best?
So for pricing, we're seeing everything from like 17 up to 97. I don't really love going above 100 for that front
Mhm.
end offer. And I'm seeing certain industries have a little bit more flexibility in going up to that 97. This is so random, but we have like a handful of clients for whatever reason that provide coaching and courses to the like med spa and aesthetics industry.
Oh,
That
wow.
audience buys. Oh, they just buy.
Interesting.
I love them. They're so great. I'm like, if we could just have an
Mhm.
entire agency of people that provide coaching and courses to that market, we would be amazing. So that's like just one random example of where we see tolerance for that higher front end. But I mean, I can think of somebody in the business coaching space who's killing it with 22 on the front end. So across
Mhm.
the board, but obviously we need the math to math in that initial transaction. And so bare minimum, we need to be able to break even. I'd ideally like to be able to have, at least a little bit of profitability in that first transaction. And so, if I were to ballpark, I would say that on average, we're seeing the cost per purchase. So how much you have to spend on ads to get that sale, somewhere between like 30 to 40 bucks is where we're seeing like that is what I would consider to be good. Meaning that if you, let's just say your cost, you have to spend $30 on ads to get a sale. Well, if the sale transaction is worth more than 30, then you're profitable, right? And that's just that initial first thing. You want to obviously still have your back end offers there to create that additional
Mhm.
profitability. So if you can have of 27 on the front end, but also a $27 order bump and a $97 upsell. And you see, we're looking for 40 to 50% to add the order bump and then at least 25% to take the back end upsell. All of a sudden, your average transaction value might be 50, 60, 70 bucks
Mhm.
and you spend $30 to get it, rinse and repeat machine, you can just put in as many $30 as you want every single day, get those sales, you bring in buyers, and then you've got an audience of buyers that you can continue to move into your other offers.
I love that. Ads are so fun to talk about and I don't even know that much about them. Like I've always worked with somebody who's ran them for me.
Yeah.
So this is such a great conversation. Okay, so on that piece of I'm so curious what you're going to say to this, but what do we need to be thinking about? Like there's when stuff is changing in the economy and how does that affect ads? Because I've
Yes.
heard so much talk about this, like, oh, ads are high because of XYZ going on in the economy. And so it's like, what truth is there to that? And what should we be mindful of?
Here's the thing. There can be both truth to something and also like we're not going to put energy into that. Like both of those things can be true at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like of course around the holidays every single year. This is a like non, economy related example, but I think it's relevant. The CPM, so how much it costs to literally just run ads goes up because competition goes up and you have all of these like massive billion-dollar brands running their promotions for Black Friday and all of that. Is that true? Yes. Do we just like become up in arms over that and give up and say, well, we can't advertise during this period? Like, no, we figure out how to compensate for it
Mhm.
elsewhere. We make ads that are a little bit more sticky and a little bit more timely so that our click through rate increases, which then balances out the fact that the CPMs are higher. We figure out how to add an additional order bump that is, $50 instead of 27 to make up for it there. We tighten everything up by
Mhm.
1% to combat it. And so that's always been my approach to any conversation around ads are changing, meta is changing, the sky is falling, meta is no longer going to be viable. It's like, okay, like let's be real here.
Yeah.
At this point they've been around for so long, Meta, Facebook and Instagram are like where the world is. And so
Right.
unless that changes, which I don't think is happening anytime soon, ads aren't going anywhere. Now, does the platform change? Do the costs change? Yes, but it's just how we respond to and work with it. And on that note, I will say that specificity and relevancy is really how you can make
Mm.
your ads that much more sticky to help combat when costs do rise by really making sure, like, if you're running an ad with, let's say you're having a video ad and you're talking about, a certain a pain point or experience, it may not be true that that pain point or experience is no longer relevant. Maybe you've been running it for a year, but is it as relevant and present as something else that's maybe coming up for your
Mm.
market in this moment? And so almost doing like, I don't know, like a timeliness audit, if you
Yeah.
will,
Yeah.
of your, we even see this with some of our clients that do webinars where we don't change anything with the ads. We just refresh the webinar content itself,
Mhm.
not even changing it entirely. It's just making sure that all of the references are related to now, this moment. And all of a sudden, we see the conversion rate double overnight. So, where can you
Mhm.
make sure that what you are speaking to is so present and real in this moment, super timely and super relevant for what's going on for
Mhm.
people? That's what I would say is most important to focus on and know that. CPMs costs in the ads manager may rise, fall, change, ebb and flow. We need to know our numbers and respond accordingly.
Yeah. Okay, this is it's that's so similar with podcast titles even. Like you can be talking about one thing that's just like these episodes are doing so well and then a year later if you're still having that conversation, you might need to label the title differently. But it's like it's the thing
Yes,
that your client thinks they don't even know that they need to know or something. And it's
exactly.
all in how you package it. So I love
Yeah.
that.
That's so brilliant. I love that. I never even thought of that, but that actually makes a lot of sense. I love that.
So, okay, another question. When you talk about stickiness, are video ads doing better? Are static ads, is that the right word? Static image, I guess. What is there one thing that performs better than the other right now, or is it kind of depends?
Yeah, across the board, not necessarily. I mean, we really do find not only different industries, but like, I mean, it's just the truth. So I think of some of our clients who are just really engaging on video and
Mhm.
others who aren't.
Right.
And so
Mhm.
like that's actually okay. We have other tools in our toolbox. So we're always going to test a variety and let the data speak for itself. I will say that what I am really the biggest fan of right now is anything that is just very clear and direct in terms of the messaging. And I see that in the static images that are like mostly all text. That's one of my favorite style of ad to run right now. Like for the agency, I run them all the time because it takes me 2 seconds to make it in Canva because I know the messaging through and through. So
Nice.
it's just like black background, white text. Here we go.
Ooh.
Oh, I made a 20 times ROAS on my ad this month from something I made in Canva in 2 seconds. And then also seeing that translate over to the like b-roll with static text overlay, similar sort of concept in that you still get to use that massive space of the ad, which is the
Mhm.
creative, to like very clearly communicate something, hence having the text, big text on the graphic or the text over the b-roll. But then with the b-roll, of course, you still get the added benefit of the moving aspects of it. So sometimes I find that just a face to camera video, well, then that's the entire unit of the ad is just the face of a person talking at you. And if you don't know who that person is and they're not really engaging and getting to the point in that first
Mhm.
1 to 2 seconds, sometimes I find that we can create context better and more quickly, which I think is always really important for ads with the just static text
Mhm.
or the text overlay on B roll. But it's all always going to be worth testing.
Well, and I also just think about how I consume and like how a lot of people consume ads. And it's like you don't always have the audio up. And sure, there's like if
Yeah.
you're talking to the camera, sure, there's the text. But yeah, this makes so much sense.
Exactly. And I think like context always, one of the like games or tools if you will that we use internally at the ad girls is if we because sometimes, you're really close to the clients you're working with and you
Right.
might create an ad and think it's like really creative and so engaging, but like what we'll do is we'll show it to somebody else who's not working on that client and say, "Can you tell me what this is an ad for?" Because if you can't, we've gotten too close, we've gotten too creative, clear over clever always. And so being able to create that context in an instant, this is who this is for, and this is what this is about, and this is why you should care. We need to be able to do that very quickly. Otherwise, the most beautiful, creative, engaging ad in the world may still get lots of traffic, but it won't be the right people who have a good, clear understanding of what this is and why it's for them. And again, going back to like the way Meta works, the way the algorithm works, it's very important that we don't get false positives. We don't want an ad that's
Mm.
actually so sticky that so many people click on it that actually it stops being effective at only attracting in the right type of person for your offer.
Mm. Okay, this is so good. And that is such a good question to ask yourself or ask somebody who might be removed from like your business, but
Yes. Yeah, like husbands are great for this, right? Because it's like the least they know about marketing, actually, the better. It
Yes.
should be able to just be like, I train my team all the time. Let's be like less marketers and more humans.
Yeah.
Because if you're too close to it and you're thinking again too much around like, what is the most creative way that I could say this? It's like, actually, no. Sometimes we just want to be clear and succinct with, again, goes without saying, have to have good messaging, good
Yeah.
understanding of your market and your audience. But again, clear over clever always.
Okay, of course, I'm going to tie this back to podcasting, but
You have
same
to.
for podcast titles. I see this as such a big mistake. The cutest, cleverest podcast titles, and nobody listens to it. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, they have no idea what it's about. Just give them straight those keywords,
Yes.
exactly clear and clever. I say it all the time.
Yes.
Okay, this is so great. Talk to me about your podcast and how does that fit in your business, in any of your funnels? Is it in
Yes.
there?
So I mean, yes, we do have a podcast, but really it's not actually an active podcast. It was a limited series, 10 episode. We call it like part of our, like a pod funnel.
Hmm.
And so it's not, again, something that we like ever update. It was recorded, I don't know, maybe a year ago at this point, and we had a previous version that ran for a couple years and then we updated it. But always it is actually purely just a like limited series, 10 episode kind of like a nurture tool.
Yeah.
It really is naturally walking people through what we know their buyer journey is. We interview
Mm.
some clients on some of the episodes. And so it really is a tool to get people ready to hire the ad girls. What we don't honestly actively do a whole lot with it, but I know from a lot of people who have told me this,
Yeah.
we run ads to get people to book calls for agency services, period. Because again, I want to know dollars in, dollars out. I'm looking for my fast action takers who are ready to go. But we definitely have people who book calls and then show up on a call with me a few days later and they're like, well, in between, I binged. I binged your whole
Awesome.
podcast, or I like, looked at your whole Instagram. It's kind of the same thing. It's just yet another asset for the person who is gonna, want to like binge, if you will, who we are through audio. They
Mhm.
go and find that, and then they come to the call. And sometimes I'm like, and we believe an ad by itself, and they're like, I already know.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like I just when's your next availability? Like
Yeah.
I already have all the details, and I'm like, oh great. So it is more of just a nurture credibility tool more so than anything.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I think it's so great that you're getting that feedback though, that people are like, yeah, I used it. I got like, I'm good. I'm ready to go. It helped
Yes.
you in that purchase as well.
Yes.
So
100%.
good. Okay. So if you were to boil things down, what is one mistake that you would say most female entrepreneurs, ideally who have a podcast, might be making in their business when they're thinking about ads?
I think again it really goes back to everything that we have spoken about,
Mhm.
not like thinking about it in a silo, thinking about, okay, I'm going to run some ads to grow this podcast, because look, you put time and energy and effort into your podcast, you want people like
Yeah.
listening to it, right? Otherwise it's for nothing. But making sure that it doesn't ever just become, with Meta specifically, right? Because it's different from other marketing. You are spending money. You want to be able to know, I put this money in, I have the ability to get this money out. And so just hoping that they listen and hoping that they're the right people and hoping that down the line it turns into something, that is not an effective ad strategy. And so just figuring out where it plugs in to your overall funnel flow to be able to put in X and get Y back, knowing that, of course, the podcast is going to provide great nurture, great credibility, but not getting so focused on just getting eyeballs on that you like lose the plot, you lose the bigger picture of being able to tie Meta ads directly to revenue growth.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, I just have a couple more questions, but one that came to mind is when you're creating a lookalike audience, can you go off of other podcasters who are similar to you, or what would you do there?
No. So what an actual lookalike audience is based off of your own source audiences. And so you can only make a lookalike audience off of your email list, your website visitors, your Instagram followers. You can't make a lookalike off of somebody else's audience unless
Mhm.
they're giving you access to that, which would like be great, but obviously that's not normally happening. Now, obviously you have the ability to do interest targeting, and
Mm.
there are some people like Amy Porterfield, of course, is like somebody who is targetable. But A lot of names are not. It tends to be, and there's no real rhyme or reason for this. I secretly believe that they stopped like creating those audiences of people maybe a few years ago, because if you think about it, there are people like, obviously Amy's been around forever. And then you have some like newer people who have really blown up, who have massive audiences, but they're not targetable. So I don't know this for a fact. I just think that like a few years ago, they like stopped creating new sort of interest categories, which is why some of the, newer people that are really, really big that have massive audiences aren't targetable. So you can look and see if any of your competitors or people that your audience would follow are targetable. But I just find so often that they are not. Like you've got Amy, you've got, Marie Forleo, and then you got a bunch of dudes and
Yeah.
then, they I just feel like they stopped adding things there.
Okay, this is so funny because I can see exactly what you're talking about because like the one or two times I've ever dabbled in ads, I feel like I went to type somebody in who's like
Yeah,
big, maybe Mel
100%.
Robbins or something. And I was
Yep.
like, how is
Yeah.
she not in
Yeah.
there? Like, I'm so
Nope.
confused by this.
Yes. No, it happens all the time. And again, who knows? I just think that I don't think that they're adding to that anymore, which would make sense, by the way, because obviously, just big picture, the direction that Meta is going in is we know better than you. We have our AI now. They don't know better. Maybe at some point they will, but they don't currently. Do not trust it. But what they want is less and less of you inputting your own targeting and more of you being like, this is my ad, and they go and find the right people for you. So it would make sense that they're not continuing to build these super
Yeah.
specific audiences. But that's yet another reason why, just as an example, optimizing, let's say for purchase and going to a low ticket funnel right off the bat makes so much sense. Because if Meta is telling you, we're not really listening to the targeting you put in anymore. Like it actually will say, like, thanks for the suggestion. Like that's actually like, yeah,
Okay.
I'm like, ooh, shade. It's like suggestion. Like, I see what you're doing there. And so with that, that just lends more to this conversation of, if we are not tracking and optimizing and telling Meta to get us the thing that we care about the most, look, Meta could go find this random pocket of people that get really cheap clicks on your podcast ads. And it's like, ooh, look at
Mhm.
me. I'm optimizing for traffic. Let me go find more of these people. And if it's not the right people, I mean, that's it. You've like lost control. Now, is it 100% certain that everybody who purchases your low ticket offer is exactly the right person? No, but we're much further along in them being closer if they're willing to take out their wallet and buy.
Right.
And so that is a big reason, right? When we look at like macro level, what's happening with Meta and it's listening to us less and less about the targeting, we
Mhm.
want to make sure that the information that it is using in deciding who to continue to show your ad to is as aligned with your business goals and objectives as possible. Hence why optimizing for purchase is
Mhm.
something that's working so well right now.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one last question, and I almost feel like maybe I know how you're gonna feel about it, but I have to ask anyways. For those people who might be a little bit more starting out and can't really come to work with somebody quite like the Ads Girls yet, what do you think about like the option to boost a post?
I know everybody's like, don't boost posts, they're terrible. Look, here's the thing. It's just you have to understand what it is and what it isn't for.
Mhm.
Same thing with if you were to just run traffic directly to your podcast. Can I sit here and tell you that you should never do that? Of course not. But you can expect that to produce sales. You just
Yes.
can't. You have to understand what it does and what it does not do. Are there moments where you're like, I just want the people that already follow me on Instagram, I want more of them to get eyeballs on this piece of content. And I know that that is the pure purpose of this boost. I can't tell you to do that or not to do that. If you're
Mhm.
like, I just want more eyeballs and it's worth it for me to spend 20, $50 to just make sure, because obviously, so small of your followers are actually seeing your content. There are moments, let's say you won an award, you got featured in four, like, right. There might be an argument that you're like, I just want the increased visibility. So amazing. Go for it. But you just have to understand what it will do and what it will not do. You will not ever generate sales or have a
Mhm.
consistent sales funnel through traffic ads, engagement ads, or boosting posts. So it's just that understanding.
Oh my gosh, this has been so insightful, Jennifer. I could keep going with you, but I won't. Where can my listeners come to learn more about what you do, your company, all the things?
Yes. So we are online at theadgirls.com. You can see all the information there on our agency and our services. And then I am Jen Spivak, Jen with 2 N's on Instagram if you want to connect.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me. It was
Of course.
such a great episode. I can't
So
wait to
fun.
share it.
Thank you, Kylie.